Well, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, and welcome to Dad, brought to you by the National Parents Union. We're so happy to see you here. This is where we talk about parenting issues from a dad's point of view. Let me introduce myself. I'm Tim Langen from the National Parents Union, proud son of James and Patty Langen, and proud dad of Matthew, Miles, Max, Dylan, and David. List keeps getting longer. John, how about you?
Hello, everybody. Welcome and good afternoon. I am the proud son of Lynette and Joseph Monteleone and proud father of Antonia.
Woo, woo, woo.
And Rochelle.
Nice.
Monteleone.
Hey, guys, nice to finally put a face to a name.
Yeah, we got some guest stars here with us today, and welcome to everybody and glad to be with everybody.
Nice. Jose?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Buenos dias. Proud son of Jose Macario and the late Jose Macario Marirene, who's just in bed still, and my two sons, Nathan and Noah, all the way from San Diego, everybody.
Glad to see you, man.
All right, I'm Michael Scott, and before I begin, I'm going to make sure that we all tell all the stories that John has been saying about his lovely daughters over the episodes in case they haven't been listening. We're going to spill all the juice. No, I'm just joking. Very proud son of Vassie and Rashida Scott. Thankful father of this lovely lady, Addison, and Grayson Scott. Grayson's upstairs working with his mom outside. They are pulling weeds like it's their job. So we are doing the intellectual stuff down here today. So good morning, everybody. Good afternoon.
Well, it's good to see all you guys. And Michael, it's good to see you too, man. I have some long questions I'm going to send you off the air. A lot of questions. We're gonna bond over that. It's not growing the way I need it to. I'm having some issues. But I'm so glad to see you this week. You know, we're in the 5th month of the pandemic. I feel like the longer it gets, the more tired I get. But I want to start off with some questions for you guys right off the bat, some quick fire questions, some icebreaker questions. There's some would you rather questions. Michael Scott, would you rather forget your wife's birthday or your wedding anniversary?
Wedding anniversary, easy. We did it at the Justice of the Peace, so it's what it is. So
nice.
Come on, man.
John, would you rather do something nice for your girlfriend or buy something nice for your girlfriend?
Oh, that's an easy one. Do something nice. Anytime that you can do a gesture that comes from the heart and is not simple and materialistic, it's always a win-win there.
I'm going to add on to that. I'm going to put you on the spot here, man. Say hypothetically you were arguing with your girlfriend. If you wanted to pick out the nicest thing you've ever done, if you've ever want to say, listen, babe, do you remember the time I did blank? What would that be? What's the nicest thing John's ever done for his girlfriend?
So I think before we were living together, she went on a girls' trip to Cancun. And in the process of getting ready, you know, her apartment was just in disarray. So while she was gone, I went over there and just scrubbed that bad boy from floor to ceiling, did all the laundry, made sure there was some fresh flowers and some of her favorite snacks, you know, sitting on the table when she returned from the airport. So that's probably one of the first things that pops in my mind.
Damn, man. That was good. That was good. You're setting the bar high because my partner's right in the other room listening. So, okay. Jose.
Hashtag John Monteleone fan for life. I see it trending.
When everyone hears the topic, she said, I hope you learned something from Michael Scott today. I already got that treatment today. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Jose, non-pandemic times, okay? Say you got a vaccine, everything's cool. Would you rather go out for a date night or do date night at home?
Non-pandemic. Yeah, I'm more of a homebody, to be honest. And yeah, I would say that. Yeah, I'd like to explore, but man, I'm getting old, man. 8 o'clock is like.
Come on, Jose. I think we need to challenge you here, though. It's not about you. You
That's
might
true.
be a homebody. What about your wife? What would she rather do?
Probably go out.
All right, there
Yeah.
it is.
Having experience. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Well, listen, Mike, I'm going to ask myself a question here because that's only fair. Would you rather keep your life together exactly the same or change aspects of your life? Dude, I don't have a goddamn choice right now. Let me tell you something. Things are moving so fast in a great way. Let me tell you, I texted you guys today. Awesome
Yeah.
dad topic. You know, I wake up today, we get the 5 boys together, okay? We get some fights over the Switch. We get some fights over the charging your iPod. And David, the littlest one, comes up to me and says, "Can I call you Dad?" Ooh, ooh. I'm like, damn, man, it's not even 10 o'clock in the morning. Jesus Christ. You know? But yeah, man, my life's changing. It's changing quick. The family's getting bigger, you know, and I'm so glad I have you guys here to help me through that. Holy cow. Because, you know, like we always say, this is like dad therapy for me. I can't go to the park. I come here. You know, and one thing I need help with, guys, I think we all need help with, just as people, is, you know, we're all in great relationships. John, I got to tell you something, man. If there's one thing I got out of, I think it was either last week's episode or the weekend before, I told Carrie the best part of the show for me was when you said that you wouldn't want to hang out with anyone else. You love kicking it with your girlfriend more than anyone else.
Dude, she's a handful, man. She's fun.
That was awesome, you know, and we're all in partnerships like that. I think that's why we're with the people we're with. And sometimes we got to take feedback from them, you know, we got to take feedback from them. And that's not an easy thing for me. And I was telling Carrie, my partner now, I almost feel like, cause I'm divorced from my kid's mom. Whether I want to or not, I got to take feedback from 2 people. You know, so the topic today is taking feedback from your spouse. And I love some advice on that. You know, me and Carrie work together for the National Parents Union. We're up in each other's faces a lot. And there's sometimes, you know, Tim's not at his best, you know, or Tim's not doing the things he should be doing. Sometimes Tim's talking about himself in the 3rd person too. And I got to stop doing that because that's weird. But Michael, I'll look to you because Carrie wants me to learn from you today, man.
Yeah, that's funny.
How do you interact with your spouse around like feedback, man? Has your wife ever told you something like, man, you're dropping the ball on this?
Yes. All the time.
Oh,
No, so here's the thing. Like I as an educator, I value feedback, giving it, receiving it. You know, I've done professional development on it. When it's times to get it at home, it is sometimes tough to receive. You know, it's something that we constantly work on every single day, though. Like, you know, how do we say things so that it can be heard, and how can I receive it knowing that it's coming out of a place of love and not judgment? That's the toughest thing. It's like to always receive it as a place of love and to get better. But me, I get stuck on the how. Like, it just comes, and Megan is just, you know, she's direct. So she's not gonna, you know, there is no like front loading, and it is just like, hey, we need to do this because, and let's get it done. Or, dude, could you help me pick up the kids' toys? You see me do it? And I'm like, I just got done with work or something like that. And it's like, just got to know, for us, it's really trying to understand where each other are coming from with the feedback. My toughest thing is giving it. You know, like I'd rather just keep it all in. You know, like I'm just gonna, you know, just keep it in, and then I exit. So I'll go for a car ride. I'll take a walk. I'm not, you know, I could count on my hand probably the number of times that we've had dispute that came from feedback, right? Because I think sometimes feedback elicits emotions, and emotions elicit argument.
Yep.
We don't, I mean, like I said, I'm not lying. Like I could count on my hand on a number of times where we had a real verbal altercation because I just avoid it. So it's not, I don't know if it's healthy. I know it drives her crazy, but I'm getting better at just receiving it and doing. Like, to be honest, and I know that's not gonna help you, Eddie, Tim, but I take it, I receive it, I absorb it, and I try to do better. I don't know.
So you said it drives her crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, give feedback. Does she say why it drives her crazy? Because I've gotten that too.
Well, just because she's the point where she's a straight shooter. She's like, well, if something's bothering you, just say it. Or if you didn't like how I said something, then tell me. And I'm very non-confrontational from that standpoint of, but I wear it on my face. So she's like, it does no good for you not to say anything. You might as well say it because your dang on face said it anyway. So, to me, it's just, how to communicate in different ways. So as you taught me through this, so talk about therapy, right? As you taught me through this, I'm thinking maybe I'll just start leaving a little bit, some notes, because I am a writer by nature. I express myself through writing much better. Like I do it as a professional. Like that's how I get things, off my chest. And when people see my writing, they say, oh, okay, here's where he's coming from and why. So maybe I need to do that a little bit in my personal life too.
How about you, Jose?
I would say, it's interesting because, I started off as a counselor. I'll never forget that moment early in the relationship. You ain't my counselor. I was like, yeah, probably right. I need to stop breaking things down. So that was interesting because I was naturally just trying to dig in and dive in and all that. And instead of just listening, instead of just really being a partner, I guess, right? Trying to solve a situation or whatever. But I there's a book, I've been trying to look it up right now. It's called Resonant Leadership. And there's a portion in the book that I found really powerful. And I did this, 10 years ago. You pick your roles, right? You have the role of a spouse, friend, professor, if you taught at the university, like at that time I was teaching at the university at night, colleague, and then leader. And you pick a person in each one of those roles to interview. And there's like 3 basic questions you're gonna ask. But the challenge is you can't give any body language to them. You gotta just listen and write it down. And it's something similar, I can't remember, I'm trying to pull it up, but it's like, what do I do really well that I should continue to do? What do I do? What do I need to get out of the way so I can just be better? And then there's one other one, but it's in one of the chapters of the book, and it's about leadership. It's resonant leadership. I'll tell you, then you start to look at patterns and trends to see what people are all saying about you. So when I was a principal at that time in middle school, I picked the most honest teacher that she and I always clashed for feedback, and I just listened. I took it. And then I picked one of my mentors to see what she'd give it to me. So I didn't pick those that are going to love me all the time. I picked those that are going to challenge me. And then I did it with my wife. And it was, man, I'll tell you what, you just got to be quiet and listen and just write things down. But it's the first edition, that's the book. And it was recommended to me by a superintendent when I was going through an academy. And it really changed who I was, because there's also a portion in there about this notion of power and influence. And I never understood what that meant. But what it meant was, in each one of your roles as a man, as a dad, I have power and influence. But I never thought of it that way. And the power and influence is, I can destroy my son's life easily by a comment, by violence. But I was like, but I would never do that. Well, no one's arguing that, but you have it. And I was like, man, you're absolutely right. As a principal, you're the only one in that whole building that gets to hire and fire if you're sitting by yourself without an assistant principal. But I never thought of that before. That's a power and influence you have that you're like, wow. As a teacher, you're the only one that gets to change that grade, at least in my area. That's power and influence. That dictates college, career, scholarships, being grounded. I might be working towards something as a kid to earn certain things, and that D or C may mess up my whole thing. But that power and influence, when I finally started using that verbiage and owning it, it grounded me further. So as a dad and as a spouse, I own it better now. I have power and influence. It's powerful, because now I'm more conscientious about my body language, my facial expressions, and my language. But it really impacted me, because then I had to embrace my trauma. My dad, I love him, rest in peace. But he kind of ran the streets, did some things. I have some half brothers and sisters that I'm trying to still understand who they are. And my mother's right next to me making her coffee. She's 4'9", powerhouse. And it was interesting that like how relationships work, how they impacted my relationship now. Good, bad, or indifferent. But it's that power and influence that I finally wrap my arms around. So when it comes to feedback, because I think I'm grounded in that notion of my own trauma, I can take it pretty well from my child or anyone else. I mean, I like it, but I can take it pretty well.
How about you, John?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, me and Haley are kind of like Mike and Megan. Like, we really don't fight a lot. We're pretty calm and relaxed. I think if I have to think of a couple examples, probably right now is one. Like, even though I'm laid back, I'm pretty opinionated. I have strong opinions towards things, and I'm pretty particular. And so, we're going through a remodel right now in our kitchen. And she had told me one time that because I'm so opinionated, she doesn't feel like she has a voice sometimes in like the decor and landscaping and, things that we supposed to be deciding upon as a couple. And so I try to keep that in my mind now as we're picking out cabinets and backsplash and flooring and stuff like that. So I think just not being so opinionated is one thing that I'm trying to work on. Going through a divorce, unfortunately, I feel like I'm a better partner now than I was for my ex-wife, which is so unfortunate to even verbalize. So I think going through that therapy and professional growth and reading books has allowed me to take feedback a little bit better. But she's pretty laid back, but when she decides to get spunky and give it to me, I listen, take it, and try to change with it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know. Like we've talked about before, is like therapy for me. It called me out to say, like, dude, get yourself out of the Tim tunnel. That's what I say. It's not all about you, man. It's not all about you. There's this other person that, just to go back to Jose's thing, that person has trauma too. That person has this background, and it has nothing to do with you, buddy. And you have to look at it from other people's perspectives. I'm getting some questions here from our viewers. What do you do? So what do you do when you have different styles? And I'll tell you something, Michael. Right on, man. Like, because it ties in some of the ways I used to deal with my dad too. Is my dad was a great guy, hard worker, but he was a yeller. So I grew up, I'm not a big fan of some confrontation. Now, I don't know if you've seen my partner Kerry on CNN, MSNBC, all that stuff, but man, she gets fiery, and like she tells me, she's like, hey, honey, you chose well, you got the spice. And I'm like, I did. And whereas I'm more like, okay, give me the feedback. I'm going to process it. And I might not have an answer for you right now, but give me some time. And sometimes, holy cow, that sets her off, man, because all she sees is me being like, she calls it the Iceman. I'm going icy. I'm not saying anything. But what I'm doing is really just taking it in and actually doing some of the work I did in therapy, trying to see it from other people's point of view. I just don't see it instantaneously.
Right.
So then I got to circle back and explain that. But it's too late because the window's already smashed. Just kidding.
Tim,
Jose, jump on in, man.
You brought up something. I'm looking around too, watching my back. One thing that she did not like was this idea of, all right, let's just agree to disagree. She was like, no. I'm like, well, listen, I'm not gonna back down. You ain't gonna back down. We're both alpha dogs. That took a while for that to be okay.
Yep.
And I'm 20 years into this run.
Yep.
So it is that, man. It was just, because to me it was like, look, if we keep going, it's not gonna end well. Whatever we're about to say to each other.
Yep.
We disagree. And it was like, what? No. that was my kind of like trying to build shared ground. You know what I mean?
What do you guys think? What do you think of those different styles? How do you guys deal with that?
So we are 20 years in almost now, right? So We know each other. She knows when I walk away, that means I'm going to say something that I don't want to say. So it's better that I walk away right now. And I understand that when she either gets quiet or when she's really direct, it's been building up for a while. We're both people that do build stuff up. So we've learned each other. It's a daily work though, right? So I mean, it's just relationships are daily work, and you have to make deposits daily. So that's another thing. So I would, my tip, for everyone would be to make daily deposits so that when withdrawals happen, because that you have enough in the bank to overcome those withdrawals, right? So you never want to be in a deficit. So, those small acts of kindness, those are deposits. Doing something just because, so for instance, one day this week, in partnership with my dad, God bless him, he said, hey, your mom just retired. She's trying to figure some things out. Why don't you bring the kids by? Let her run around with them. Let Megan stay at home. You work remotely from my office. And that's what I did. That was a huge deposit. So then Megan got the day to kind of just do what she needed to do. So I think, when you do have different styles though, my advice would be though, make deposits. Because there is going to be huge withdrawals at times. So I'm just going to keep banking and banking and banking.
Do you guys have signs? Like you said a good thing about how when your partner is a little bit irritated with you. Jose, does your wife have signs where you're like back away from me? I'll tell you what it is, man. When Carrie gets into whisper tone, she speaks very low. She rarely speaks low. When she speaks low to the point like, I'm screwed or something's going on. Does your wife have a sign like that?
You know why she's doing that, man? Because she wants you to come in closer. She's about to do something. No, listen, for me, I'd say for me when a lot of questions start to happen, maybe.
That's good.
Then I'm like, okay, where's this going? What's happening right now? Because there's signs for sure. But I try to get ahead of it. I definitely try to, because life's too short. It's just too short to be talking about piddly stuff that doesn't need to be spoken about just for the sake of speaking about it. So I try to get ahead of it. Build moments to let that valve release. Yeah. And just have a lot of those moments, so then it doesn't build up.
Listen, I want to tie this back before you got to go, man. Like, how do we tie this back to being a dad? Because we got to remember, like, people are watching us. Like, we're in a bubble. Like, forget about leadership for schools. Like, we're leadership for our kids right now. And I know, I learned from my dad some things, and my kids are going to learn some things from me. I think the other month, all of a sudden, what was it? David all of a sudden went, for the love of God, can I just eat something? And I looked at Carrie, and Carrie looked at me, and she's like, because that's something I say. Like, we're an influence on our kids, but especially like how they learn how to deal with conflict and how to deal with like conversations and feedback. And when my kids are 18, 20, 25, and they gotta look for jobs, man, if you can't deal with feedback and you can't talk to people, you're not going to go anywhere, man. Yeah, Michael.
So, all right, I must confess a sin.
Hold on, Mike. Tim, go get Carrie. Go get Carrie.
So,
yeah, that's right.
It's about to go down. I said I walk away often. Sometimes I do not. There was one instance where Megan was telling me something and I needed to hear it, but I didn't want to hear it. And I just looked and I was like, son of a, can you just stop already? Right? So a couple days passed. And I apologize, of course, right? Jose, close your mouth. Come on. And I was like, son of a, I hear you already. No, I get it. Do you know that Addison was getting on Grayson about something? He turned and was like, son of, and I was like, So we've now taught him son of a gun. But my point is they are always watching.
Yeah.
So as much as we try, and like I said, my wife and I, we have a healthy relationship, but any little moment
Yeah.
can stay with them forever. And that's
Yep.
such a huge pressure because we are human, right? And my wife didn't take the son of a, she was just like, well, if you listened to me the first time, I wouldn't have to keep going. So we worked that out. But the fact that days later, my son, it was almost as though they were acting out because Addison was like, "Hey, Gracie, you need to pick that," and quit messing with my stuff. And he just turned and was like, "Son of a,"
Yeah.
I was like, so anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, my boys, like I'm a dad. Like I always try to drive that home. I'm a dad. You're not.
Yeah.
But we're also examples, right?
Yep.
And I think to Mike's point,
Yep.
you know, that is, we have to be the best versions of ourselves because our kids are watching. And you know, I have 2 daughters, and I didn't set the greatest example for them in my first relationship. So I'm cognizant about that now in my second relationship, you know, and you know, and they're older now. So like, even when butthead mode starts coming up and creeping up, you know, they'll look at Haley and be like, oh yeah, that's him, there he comes. You know what I mean? Like, cause they've seen it before, you know? And then that is very humbling because you're thinking to yourself like, doggone, like I gotta do better. Like I gotta be a better example,
Yep.
a better dad, and be better in this relationship. So I have to receive feedback better. I have to understand the signals and respond to them in a more mature and empathetic way. It's just all about setting that example as dads.
Right, man. I remember we were going to this place. I don't know if they have them where you are. It's called Great Wolf Lodge. It's like an indoor swimming pool place, and it was like 3 or 4 years ago. And it was like the first trip after me and my ex were divorced. So I was really laying it on thick. I was on full Disney mode. And the arcade you walk through, right? And I just want to get to the room. And Max is the mini me, and he wanted to get to the room. And Dylan's like the lazy bones. And he's walking. And Max is like, come on. And I never seen that side of him. I said, what are you doing? And he's like, I want to be just like you, Dad. And all I could think of was that commercial when we were growing up with the dad who caught his son smoking weed. And
I learned it from watching you, Dad.
I learned it from watching you. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. Oh, my God.
I would say my advice to dads would be, you know, my son, I haven't seen him in a couple of days, just in passing, the older one. And he's very independent now, doing his thing. You know, he's going to turn 14 soon. And he had his braces worked on a little bit. So last night before I went to bed, I went over, he was in front of his computer. And he had his headset on. And I just side hugged him, rubbed his arm, and said, you all right? Kissed his head.
Yep.
And then he just kind of leaned over. You know, he's as tall as me now. He leaned over. And I think, you know, with men, we're fighting against testosterone.
Yep.
And we forget that. And
Yep.
so, you know, learning to talk is learning to be empathetic first.
Yep.
You know, learning to talk as a girl is learning not to become a turtle. So, but it's also about that empathy and that heart. So it meant a lot to me that I did that. And I was exhausted. I just want to go to bed. But that moment, I thought, okay, I got to keep doing that as a dad. So I think those are the moments. As a dad, trust your gut,
Yep.
trust your feeling. If you go, you know, I should probably go see him, go do that. And it's gonna matter for a lifetime.
Do you admit when you're wrong, Jose? Should dads
Oh
admit
yeah,
when you're wrong? Yeah.
I do, but I'm rarely wrong.
Yeah, I hear you. Me neither, man. That's the one thing I learned I told you, Massachusetts, if you get divorced with kids, you got to take a class.
Yeah.
And the guy said, you know what, man? If you lose your cookies one day, don't be afraid to circle back and say, listen, I shouldn't have communicated that way, shouldn't have yelled, but here's why I did it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, listen, I know we got to assure everybody, I know, Jose, you got to go do your work, man, but I want to go around real quick. Tough question. I want you guys to think about this, and I want to start with you, Michael, because you've set the bar high, and I'm going to have to deal with this afterwards. What's the worst piece of feedback you ever received from your partner?
Wow.
I'll start with mine, to be fair. Hold on for a second. I'll make sure. This kid goes out the door. And I forget what the feedback was. I forget what the hell we were fighting over that day. But Kerry looked at me. And we were having a fight. And she looked at me square in the eyes. And she's like, you are so full of shit. And the way she said it, I can't even imitate it. I can't do it again. But the way she said it knocked the knees out from under me, man. And I was like, what? Who the hell do you think? I've even tried to get her to imitate it. And she can't get it just right.
Yeah. Oh, man, this is a big question. So I'm just gonna be short, and you guys know I can go on. But one time told me straight up, you're a liar, and you hurt me. So yeah, that was the toughest.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the same thing. Being called that to me, and there are three things I do not like, and I attest: liver, liars, and long lines.
Yep.
Those are the three things. And to be called a liar, man, that was deep, man. Because I'm like, what? I mean, ooh, that's tough. Yeah.
Hello. This is David.
Hey, David.
These are the best dads I know, by the way. You want to know how I get to be such a good dad? Listen to these guys. That's John. That's Michael. That's Jose. Say hi.
Hi.
Hi, David.
John, how about you, man?
I think for me is, we've all done this where we hide things from our partners because we're afraid of either A, how they're going to react, or B, we don't want to hurt them. And they find out anyways, and then they hit you with I lost some trust. I lost some trust here. And that to me, that hits you right in your soul right there. Because I mean, that's every healthy, growing, flourishing relationship starts with the foundation of trust. And when you break that, man, that's tough.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when my ex-wife said to me, when she asked for a divorce, she's like, man, I was supposed to feel safe with you. Ooh. Ooh, and I try to bring that into this relationship, man.
Yeah.
We're all works in progress. I wish I could remember that guy's name from the divorce class because he kept saying we're works in progress, man. Hey, listen, guys, I can't do this without you. For all the viewers out here, what you're seeing, this is love, man. This is love. These are dads because we need to do better and we're doing better. So to all of our viewers out there, because I think the studio audience is coming in, log on to the National Parents Union, be a member on the nationalparentsunion.org. And I'm not saying we got 95% moms, which is great. We need more dads, man. We need more dads. Okay, jump on, give us advice, help us out. And everyone, have a nice weekend, everyone.
See you guys next week, man. You take care.
See you later, man.
Love you, Mike.
Good job, Mike.
Good job, man.